Okay. Hello all. Welcome to the week 6 TA session for drug delivery principles and engineering. Before we start, so this entire session will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube. Also, the presentation I'll be sharing today will be uploaded on Google Drive and the link will be shared with you all. Let's start. I'll share my screen first. And can someone let me know if you guys can see the screen? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, so we'll start. So these are the topics that were covered in the previous week: tissue engineering, drug delivery in tissue engineering, and implant associated infections. We'll start with the assignment. This So the first question is, which one of the following is incorrect about biofilms on implant surfaces? It prevents antibody penetration to the bacterial surface. It sequesters bacteria-specific ions and nutrients. It increases antibiotic interaction. It enhances virulence of the bacteria. It prevents macrophage bacteria interactions. Which one is incorrect? Anybody? Which one is an incorrect statement about biofilms on implant surfaces?
Ma'am,
I think it's four.
Ma'am, third option.
Okay. Anyone else?
Fourth option. It enhances the virulence of the bacteria.
Okay. Anybody else would like to answer?
Ma'am, I think it's option 4.
Okay. Okay, let's see the answer. So the answer is it increases antibiotic interaction. So these are all the things that the biofilm does. It prevents antibody penetration into the bacterial surface, prevents macrophage bacteria interactions, reducing polymorphonuclear leukocytes, texas, enhancing virulence of the bacteria, sequestering bacteria-specific ions and nutrients, and preventing antibiotic interaction. So it increases antibiotic interaction is the only false option here. Let's move on to the next question. Why are stents used in blood vessels for tissue engineering? You have to select two options: to heal blood vessels, to prevent hemorrhage, to open occlusions from vessels, to bypass a blocked artery or vein, to help grow a new blood vessel in its vicinity, to prevent senescence, to cause further damage to excessive blood vessels, and to increase diameter of blocked blood vessel, hence increasing fluid flow.
Ma'am, fifth and last option.
Fifth, to cause further damage to, fifth, one, two, five. Okay, to help grow a new blood vessel in its vicinity and to increase diameter of blocked blood vessel. Okay.
Madam, second and last option.
To prevent hemorrhage. Okay. Anyone else?
Second and last option.
Okay. Anyone else would like to answer? Which two options are correct for stents used in blood vessels for tissue engineering? Anyone else wants to answer? Okay. So those who said the last option, to increase diameter of blocked blood vessel, hence increasing fluid flow, that is one correct option. But the another correct option that is to open occlusions from vessels. These two are the correct options. So this is how a stent works. So you insert a catheter with the stent and then inflate the balloon. That will increase the diameter, and then you remove the catheter so that it stays that way with increased diameter. So there are several cholesterol or some deposition over the blood vessel lining that prevents blood flow. So to prevent or to remove this, that this is one occlusion. To remove this, we use stent or to increase the diameter. So these two options will be correct. Okay. Next question. Which of the following methods would you use to prevent bacterial adherence on device? You have to select two options. Rough surface, regular smooth surface, hydrophilic surface, hydrophobic surface.
Rough surface.
Rough surface. And another option, you have to select
Second and three.
second and three. Okay.
Ma'am, first and fourth.
First and fourth. Okay.
Two and three.
2 and 3. Okay.
First and third.
First and third. Okay. Anyone else would like to answer? Two options to prevent bacterial adherence on device. Okay, so the correct options are to prevent bacterial adherence on device, we have to either have a regular smooth surface or hydrophilic surface. Because hydrophobic surfaces, charged surfaces, or even the rough surface, they provide more surface area and binding sites for the bacteria to attach to the implants. So we need a smooth surface and a hydrophilic surface to prevent attachment of the bacteria to the implant. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Which implant device has highest rate of infection? You have to select one option. Is it dental implants, vascular grafts, Mammary implants, penile implants, heart assisted devices, fracture fixation devices.
Ma'am, vascular grafts.
Okay.
Vascular grafts, ma'am.
Heart assistant device, ma'am. Last two.
Second last option. Okay.
Yes, heart assistant.
Fracture
Fracture
fixation.
fixation.
Fracture fixation devices.
Okay. Anyone else has any other answer? Which implant device has the highest rate of infection? Okay. So the correct answer is heart assisted devices. So here is a table that shows different devices along with estimated number of inserts in the United States per year and the rate of infection percentage and the attributable mortality. So you can see here highest is heart assisted devices. Also mechanical heart valves, they have high mortality rate. So heart assisted devices will be the correct answer. Now the next question. What are the common approaches used to reduce implant associated infections? You have to select two options. Is it sterilization, gene bombardment, surface modification, coating with a metallic paint, annealing, heat working, pulling into sheets?
1 and 3, ma'am.
Okay,
1 and 3, ma'am.
okay. Anyone else?
Yes, 1 and 3, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else would like to answer? Common approaches used to reduce implant associated infections. Okay. 1 and 3 are the correct options. So sterilization is one of the most common approach used to reduce implant associated infections. In most of the surgeries, before even starting the operation, they sterilize the implants, and by sterilization you can remove most of the bacteria. But even then, sometimes during the surgical process, it may happen that the circulating uh, bacteria can get attached to the implant, and then it leads to further infections inside the body. So for that, surface modification is another approach that can be used to reduce the implant associated infections. Like we discussed, the hydrophilic surface or smooth surface, you can make these changes to the implants uh, to reduce the infections. So sterilization and surface modification are the common approaches. Also, you can modify the surface by using drug delivery. Like you can coat the surface with antibiotics or any antimicrobial drugs, that upon insertion into the body, it will slowly release the drugs and can prevent infections of bacteria. Okay, so next question. Which one of the following is not a feature of implant infection? Adhesive bacterial colonization of the material, resistant to host defense mechanism and antibiotics, transformation of non-pathogens or opportunistic violent organisms because of presence of biomaterial substratum, presence of infection until removal of material, absence of tissue integration, tissue healing, presence of tissue cell damage and necrosis, which is not a feature of implant infection.
Second option, madam.
Second option. Okay.
Ma'am, sixth option.
Okay. Anyone else? Which of the following is not a feature of implant infection?
Tissue healing,
Okay. Anyone else? Anybody else would like to answer? Which one of the following is not a feature of implant infection? Okay, tissue healing is the correct option. So here we are talking about not a feature of implant infection. So tissue implant infection. So tissue healing is not associated with implant infection. Rather, it is more of the application of the implant or the biomaterial. So that will be the correct option. Rest of the options with adhesive bacterial colonization of the material, resistant to host defense mechanisms and antibiotics. So the bacteria forms a biofilm over the implant, and this biofilm is very strong and it prevents the immune cells to pass through as well as the antibiotics to interact and enter into the site. So that is how it gives more resistance to the host defense mechanisms. And transformation of non-pathogens or opportunistic or bacteria to more virulent organisms. Then the infection persists until we remove the material. And also there is absence of tissue integration because it is mostly covered with the bacteria. There is less space for the tissue to interact with the implant. And the last option, that is presence of tissue cell damage necrosis. So on the outer surface of the biofilms or the bacteria, these immune cells will try to interact with them, lead to more, that leads to presence of more tissue cell damage and necrosis on the surface. So here tissue healing will be the correct option, which is not a feature of implant infection. Oh. So let's move on to the next question. How biofilms inhibit host defense mechanisms? You have to select the false statement. Preventing antibody penetration into the bacterial surface, reducing virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and making them susceptible to immune effectors, preventing macrophage bacteria interactions, reducing polymorphonuclear leukocyte chemotaxis, enhancing virulence of the bacteria, and preventing antibiotic interaction.
Second option, ma'am.
Ma'am, second option. Second option.
Okay. Anyone else? How biofilms inhibit host defense mechanisms? Anyone else would like to answer? How biofilms inhibit host defense mechanisms? And which is the false statement here? Okay, so second option is the correct option, reducing virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and making them susceptible to immune effectors. So as we discussed before, it rather increases the virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and it prevents the immune cells to enter into the cells. So that is how it inhibits host defense mechanisms. Whereas here it says it reduces virulence, which is false. So this will be the correct answer. Okay, next question. Which of the following is an advantage of decellularized matrix? You have to select two options. Toxicity of detergents used. Fragments of ECM triggers clotting cascade. The matrix does not trigger immune response. The network of natural ECM is suitable for growing cells and it is difficult to produce on large scale, which is not an advantage, which is an advantage of decellularized matrix.
Ma'am, third and fourth option.
Does not trigger immune response and is suitable for growing cells. Okay.
Third and fourth.
Okay. Anyone else? Which
Third
one?
and fourth.
Okay. Anyone else? Third and fourth are the correct options. The matrix does not trigger immune response. The network of natural ECM is suitable for growing cells. Rest of the options with toxicity of detergents used, fragments of ECM triggers clotting cascade, difficult to produce on large scale. These are basically the disadvantages of decellularized matrix. Okay. So next question. Which of the following is not an objective behind tissue engineering? You have to select two options, two correct options: to generate new tissue to replace damaged tissue, to generate tissue in vitro which can be used to regenerate damaged tissue, embed cells like neutrophils and macrophages and scaffolds to enhance immune inflammatory profile of the damaged tissue, to add support or filler material to help the function of tissue, putting scaffolds to help regenerate damaged tissue, embedding cytokines like interleukin 1 beta and matrix metalloproteinase 13 to create more damage to the tissue, which is not an objective behind tissue engineering.
1 and 2, madam.
Okay,
Ma'am, three and last. Third and last.
okay,
Ma'am, third and last.
okay,
Third and last.
okay,
Third and last.
okay. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to answer? Which is not an objective of tissue engineering? Okay, third and last options are the correct answer. That is, embed cells like neutrophils and macrophages and scaffold to enhance immuno-inflammatory profile of the damaged tissue. So this is basically a disadvantage, and this is not an objective of the not no, because we want to decrease the inflammatory profile, not enhance it. So this is not an objective of tissue engineering. And embedding cytokines like IL-1 beta and matrix MMP13 or matrix metalloproteinase 13 to create more damage to the tissue. We don't want more damage, rather we want to prevent damage or regenerate the damaged tissue or neo tissue. So these two options, that is embedding cells like neutrophils and macrophages to enhance inflammatory profile, is not an objective, and embedding cytokines like IL-1 beta and MMP13 is also to create more damage to the tissue, is also not an objective of tissue engineering. Okay, now last question. Consider that insulin, this is a numerical question. Consider that insulin releasing cells are embedded in a scaffold made of collagen. The rate of release from the scaffold is given by the equation R2 equals to 2.2 millimole per second. The dimensions of the scaffold are as follows: area equals to 25 mm square, width equals to 2 mm. In a steady state, how much insulin will be released in 5 seconds? You have to answer in millimoles.
Ma'am, 11 millimole.
Sorry, can you repeat the answer?
11 millimole.
Okay, 11. Okay. Anyone else? How much insulin will be released in 5 seconds? Anyone else solve the answer? Okay, so the answer is pretty straightforward. The area and width here, this has nothing to do to calculate how much of insulin will be released in 5 seconds. So here R2 is given as 2.2 millimole per second. So in 1 second it is releasing 2.2 millimole. Then in 5 seconds it will release 2.2 into 5, that is 11 millimole. Okay. So anybody has any doubt in all the questions that we discussed till now? Otherwise, I'll start again from start for those who joined later.
The last question.
Sorry?
10th question, madam.
Yes, I'll repeat again from starting for people who joined later. Okay. So we'll start with the first question again. I hope nobody had any doubt in all the questions that were discussed for those who had joined in the beginning. Okay. So which one of the following is incorrect about biofilms on implant surfaces? You have to select which is an incorrect options. So it prevents antibody penetration to the bacterial surface. This is correct. It sequesters bacteria specific ions and nutrients. This is also correct. It increases antibiotic interaction. This is wrong. It enhances virulence of the bacteria. This is correct. It prevents macrophage bacteria interactions. This is also correct. So it increases antibiotic interaction. This is a wrong option. So the biofilm is like it's covering the entire implant and there is very little space to for the antibiotic to get inside the biofilms to the bacteria where they are residing. So it actually prevents antibiotic interaction. The next question, why are stents used in blood vessels for tissue engineering? You have to select two options. So the correct options here will be to open occlusions from vessels and to increase diameter of the blocked vessel, hence increasing fluid flow. So basically all the cholesterol or all the depositions that lead to uh, smaller diameter of the vessels, and it leads to more blockage. So to remove this blockage and to increase the diameter, stents are used. Next question. Which of the following methods would you use to prevent bacterial adherence on device? You have to select two options. Rough surface, regular smooth surface, hydrophilic surface, and hydrophobic surface. So here the correct options would be regular smooth surface or hydrophilic surface. The rough surface or the hydrophobic surface, the rough surface gives more surface area for the bacteria to interact, and the hydrophobic surface also allows the bacteria to interact more. So to prevent infections, we need either smooth surface or hydrophilic surface. Hydrophobic surfaces, charged surfaces, and functional groups present binding sites for the bacteria. Next question. Which implant device has highest rate of infection? You have to select one option from dental implants, vascular grafts, mammary implants, penile implants, heart-assisted devices, fracture fixation devices. Here the correct option is heart-assisted devices. So this is the list of all the devices that are inserted, and the estimated number of inserts, estimated number inserted per year in US, and rate of infection with attributed mortality. Here you can see heart assisted devices has the highest rate of mortality. Uh, Similarly, mechanical heart valves also have a high rate of mortality. So what are the next question is, what are the common approaches used to reduce implant associated infections? Sterilization, gene bombardment, surface modification, coating with a metallic paint, annealing, heat working, pulling into sheets. So the correct options are sterilization and surface modification. So sterilization is the basic approach that is used in most of the surgical process of introducing the implants in the body, where the implants are sterilized. That kills most of the bacteria. But using biomaterial or tissue engineering approaches, uh, or drug delivery uh, using drug delivery approaches, we can also introduce surface modifications into the implants to prevent implant associated infections. So like we discussed before, either using a more smooth surface or hydrophilic surface, we can prevent attachment of the bacteria. So that is how we can modify the surface, or we can coat the surface with drugs, antibiotic or antimicrobial drugs that can release the drugs upon implantation. That can also lead to reducing the implant associated infections. So sterilization and surface modification are the two common approaches for prevention of implant associated infections. Next question. Which of the following is not a feature of implant infection? Adhesive bacterial colonization on the material. This is correct. Resistant to host defense mechanism and antibiotics. Correct. Transformation of non-pathogens or opportunistic to virulent organisms because of presence of biomaterial substratum. Correct. Persistence of infection until removal of material. Absence of tissue integration. These are also correct. Tissue healing, whereas is not a feature of implant infection. This is the feature of the implant. So this will be the correct option, tissue healing. And also there is presence of tissue cell damage and necrosis near the when there is implant associated infections. Okay, so next question. How biofilms inhibit host defense mechanisms? You have to select the false statement. By so the options are preventing antibody penetration into the bacterial surface, reducing virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and making them susceptible to immune effectors, preventing macrophage bacteria interactions, reducing polymorphonuclear leukocyte chemotaxis, enhancing virulence of the bacteria, preventing antibiotic interaction. So here the false statement is reducing virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and making them susceptible to immune effectors. Rest of the options are correct. rather biofilms enhances the virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and makes them susceptible to and does not allow the immune effectors to act on the bacteria, and that is how it inhibits the host defense mechanism. Next question. Which of the following is an advantage of decellularized matrix? Toxicity of detergent used. This is a disadvantage. Fragments of ECM triggers clotting cascade. This is also a disadvantage. The matrix does not trigger immune response. This is an advantage. The network of natural ECM is suitable for growing cells. Another advantage. Difficult to produce on large scale. This is also a disadvantage. So the matrix does not trigger immune response, and the network of natural ECM is suitable for growing cells are the two advantages of decellularized matrix. Now the next question. Which of the following is not an objective behind tissue engineering? To generate new tissue to replace damaged tissue. This is an objective. To generate tissue in vitro which can be used to regenerate damaged tissue. This is another objective. Embed cells like neutrophils and macrophages and scaffolds to enhance inflammatory profile of the damaged tissue. This is not an objective of tissue engineering. We don't want to enhance the inflammatory profile, rather we want to decrease the inflammatory profile via using tissue engineering. To add support or filler material to help function the tissue. An objective of tissue engineering. Putting scaffolds to help regenerate damaged tissue. Another objective. Embedding cytokines like interleukin 1 beta and matrix metalloproteinase 13 to create more damage to the tissue. This is another this is also not an objective behind tissue engineering. We don't want to create more damage, rather we want to regenerate the damaged tissue or help regenerate or repair the damaged tissue. So these two options, that is embed cells like neutrophils and macrophages and scaffolds to enhance the inflammatory profile of the damaged tissue, and embedding cytokines like IL-1 beta and MMP13 to create more damage to the tissue, are the two options that are not objective of tissue engineering. Next question. Consider that insulin releasing cells are embedded in a scaffold made of collagen. The rate of release from the scaffold is given by the equation R2 equals to 2.2 millimole per second. The dimensions of the scaffolds are as follows. Area equals to 25 mm square, width equals to 2 mm. In a steady state, how much insulin will be released in 5 seconds? You have to report in millimole. So here R2 is given as 2.2 millimole per second. The dimensions area and width we are not going to use while solving this. So in 1 second it is releasing 2.2 millimole. So in 5 seconds it will release 2.2 into 5, that is 11 millimole. So 11 will be the correct answer. Okay. Now anyone would like me to repeat any question, or wants me to repeat from the start again, we can do that. Or has any doubt in any question? Anyone wants me to discuss any other question again? Or has any doubt?
Madam, which author book is good for drug delivery principles and engineering?
Good author book. I think it would be in the site itself. If you go to the site, there is one book. I don't remember the title right now, but I can share you the title again. in the next.
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yes, madam. Madam, I had another doubt.
Yes.
How many questions will be asked in the examination for how many marks?
Oh, that I don't know right now, but whatever questions we are discussing, it will be pretty similar to these type of questions, and it will have both numerical and multiple choice, and might have objective type, subjective type questions as well. But you can ask in the
Thanks.
forum again, the other teaching assistants, that those who upload the questions, they might know in this regard. Anyone else has any other doubt? Anyone else has any doubt or wants me to repeat any question again or go through all the questions again? Seventh question. Okay. So the seventh question was how biofilms inhibit host defense mechanisms, and you have to select a false statement. So here, reducing virulence of the bacteria, that is the second option, reducing virulence of the bacteria in biofilms and making them susceptible to immune effectors is a false statement. The biofilms that covers the implants, they increase the virulence of the bacteria rather than decreasing it and making them susceptible, and they prevent the immune cells to enter into the inside of the biofilms where the bacteria are there. They prevent their interaction with the immune cells. That is how they enhance the virulence and prevent immune effectors interaction. That is how they inhibit host defense mechanisms. So reducing virulence and making them susceptible to immune effectors is a false statement here. You're welcome. Anyone else has any other doubts or any other question you want me to discuss? Thiru Murugan R and Ankita Patil, do you have any doubt or do you
Yes,
want?
no, madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Miss Ankita Patil, do you want me to repeat any question or have any doubt? Miss Ankita Patil. If you don't have any doubts, then we can close this session now. You can leave the session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem.